The one and the only. Chapter 3. Soon it will be payback time. How dare you hit my son? B***********. I'll beat the shit out of you. Without giving Penny any room for explanation, Mistress Zan raised her fleshy arm and swung it towards Penny's delicate face. Penny Smith tried to explain the situation to Mistress Zan, but Mistress Zan's demeanor was simply overbearing, to the point of being barbaric. Mistress Zan appeared to be the kind of woman who would raise her hand on a whim. Caught off guard, Penny could not dodge the assault in time. The flesh on Mistress Zan's arm jiggled from her force, and her palm was about to strike Penny's face. Nathan stepped in at the nick of time. With Queenie held in his left arm, Nathan immediately extended his right arm to grasp Mistress Zan's wrist. Mistress Zan's meaty palm was mere inches away from Penny's face. Even so, it hung stationary in mid-air as if it had been frozen. Her palm was unable to inch forward. Slap. Before she knew it, Nathan had withdrawn his hand in a flash and landed a harsh slap on her face. Nathan slapped her as if he were swatting an irritating mosquito. The slap was of such great magnitude that it almost caused her to see stars. Her hair that had been arranged in a pashapto was now disheveled. She stared incredulously at Nathan as she covered her swollen cheek with her hand. "How dare you slap me in such a manner?" she screeched. "You deserve this for being a lousy role model for your kids. How could you treat others with such insolence, without even bothering to uncover the truth of the matter?" Meanwhile, the teacher was back from her bathroom break. Stupefied by the sudden outbreak of events, she rushed over frantically and tried to placate everyone. "Are you okay, Mistress Zan?" Mistress Zan had barely recovered from the shock of being slapped by Nathan. She brushed the teacher aside with and shrieked hysterically at Nathan. "You have the guts to slap me. Are you trying to die? Just wait and see what will become of you." With that being said, she pulled out her phone and dialed a number. After a few minutes, the screeching sound of the car tires traveled from outside the room. Two Mercedes-Benz zipped into the kindergarten compound, charging through the entrance at breakneck speed. They came to a sudden halt upon arriving at the classroom building. 5 men dressed in slick outfits alighted from both cars. Their leader was a hulking man with a face that was contorted with menace and cruelty. He stormed into the classroom, flanked by 4 bodyguards, and roared like a savage beast. "Who was the idiot who'd bullied my wife and kid? What took you so long to get here, honey?" Mistress Zan was over the moon when she saw his repulsive face. She waddled over to him like an inflated goose, her fat hips swaying from side to side. "Don't you know he could have beaten us to death if you'd arrived a tad bit later?" The man cast a bestial look around the room and demanded, "Who's the idiot who had the nerve to beat my wife? Doesn't he know who I am? I'm Walter Zan." "This man is Walter Zan." The worried look in Penny's eyes intensified when she heard the name. Notorious in Channing for his wealth and status, he was a ruthless and cruel character. Mistress Zan pointed towards Nathan and Penny. "That is the sickening couple who bullied us, honey," she scoffed. "I demand that you make them compensate me with a hefty sum, or I'll move out with our son, leaving you for good." Walter Zan slit his eyes and sneered. "That's just a piece of cake for me, my dear. I'll slap the woman till she loses all the teeth. As for the man, I'll chop off the hand that hit you." The fat boy cried out in excitement. "Daddy, don't forget their daughter, Queenie, as well. I want you to beat her up for bullying me." Walter Zan smiled as he caressed his son's head. "Sure, my boy. I'll tie her on a leash and make her crawl on the floor so that you can treat her like a dog." As if Walter Zan's words were the most beautiful arias to their ears, his wife swooned with delight while his fat son clapped his hands ecstatically. Everyone in the kindergarten, including teachers and parents who had come to fetch their children, was watching with horror from a distance. They all felt sorry for Nathan and his family upon hearing Walter's declaration. As if it had been set in stone, "Thou shalt not offend Walter Zan, lest you feel suicidal." Even Penny was getting worried. She stepped forward and tried to explain. "Please let me explain the matter to you, Mr. Zan. I'm Penny Smith from the Smith family. This is all a misunderstanding. Don't give me that crap. I don't need any explanation." Walter Zan snorted. "Nobody would dare to defy me. It's my word that counts. Besides, what is the Smith family to me? Don't waste your time trying to intimidate me with that lame family of yours. And don't think that I'm unaware of your dishonored past too. You are the shameless daughter from the Smith family, who had slept around with men and given birth to a child without a husband. You should count your blessings that your old man still keeps you in the family. How dare you get a sucker like him to bully my wife? I'm going to teach you a bloody lesson today on behalf of your family. And I'll make sure that it's the most painful lesson in your life." Walter Zan shouted at his 4 bodyguards. "What are you guys waiting for? Move." "Got it, boss." The 4 of them gave a synchronous answer and ferociously lunged at Nathan and his family. "Go to hell," they yelled. A cold spark flashed across Nathan's eyes as he turned to Penny. "Shield Queenie's eyes. Don't let her see this." Penny was grappling with the meaning of his instruction. But she soon realized what he was going to do. She immediately covered Queenie's eyes with her hand. Nathan stepped forward and delivered a knockout punch to the first man who had charged at him. Boom, boom, boom. With a few thuds, the men fell to the ground in succession, like dominoes. Everyone present gasped in awe at Nathan's agility and aggression. He then walked directly to Walter Zan. Clamping his hand on Walter's shoulder, he ordered sharply, "Kneel." His hand seemed to weigh like a ton of bricks on Walter's shoulder and he crumpled to his knees. Thump. Walter Zan's knees slammed on the floor, and his features twisted in agony. Slap. Before he could even scream, Nathan landed a series of thunderous slaps on both his cheeks. Walter Zan's face began to swell as blood dripped from the corners of his lips. "You have such nerve to hit me like this." He stared fixedly at Nathan with a venomous look. "Wait till you find out who you are dealing with. You little muppet." He spat. "Don't you know who my boss is? He's someone who can squash you like a cockroach for laying your hand on me. He's Thomas Dunn. Trust me, I can make your wife and child perish with a single phone call. Yes, Thomas Dunn. The almighty Thomas Dunn." Thomas Dunn was the captain of the armed forces in the Eastern District. Simply put, they regarded him as the warlord of the Eastern District. Ruthless and rapacious, he was infamous for turning a blind eye to the vices of the filthy rich. Walter Zan had always been in his good books. Hence, Thomas regarded him as one of his right-hand men. Everybody cast a sympathetic look at Nathan when they heard the mention of Thomas Dunn. Fearing the worst for Nathan and his family, they were convinced that Nathan would soon be doomed as they murmured a prayer for him. Even though they were impressed by Nathan's sublime skills, there was simply no way he could defend himself against an army. They lamented Nathan's sorrowful fate. Instead of losing a leg, it would now cost him his life. Penny was no less concerned than the rest as she watched from afar with Queenie in her arms. The turn of events filled her lovely face with unease. Nathan seemed undaunted by Walter's threats. His eyes took on a frosty look as he mocked. "Sounds too good to be true. Do you think that I'm lying?" Walter's eyes seemed to bulge out of his skull as he glared menacingly at Nathan. "Let me make that call, and I bet you'll be crying like a baby in 10 minutes time. I'll make you wish that you could crawl back into your mother's womb." Thump. He had barely finished his sentence when something was thrown at his face. It was a rugged, shock-resistant mobile phone. Walter darted his eyes between the phone and Nathan, looking nonplussed. "You have 10 minutes to call for help," Nathan uttered indifferently. "Mobilize all your men and show me what you've got. And make sure that you get all your big guns here to support you. Whether you are coming at me or my family, Just bring your A game. Welcome to download Bravonovel app to read more chapters of the one and the only novel online.